Welcome to Voices of an Author with V. Waring. We welcome you all on this evening. I am so excited to have with me international best-selling author and certified grief consultant, Miss Deborah Juniper-Frye, with us on tonight. Now, for some of you all who do not know what of an Author is all about, it is simply what it says. It is the voice of an author. So many times we pick up books penned by authors, and how the storylines reads, we pick up tones, we pick up their personalities, and sometimes we're left saying, what were they going through? What's going on with them? And so I felt it was very befitting for the audience to actually meet authors who have penned different storylines that we follow. And again tonight, the RiseHer Network welcomes the very only, the one and only, Mrs. Deborah Juniper-Frye. Hi, Miss Deborah. How you doing?
I am outstanding. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good.
It's so good to see you. You're looking good as always.
Well, thank you. I tell you, it's a blessing to be looking good and to be able to see you as well.
Yes, ma'am. So we're not going to keep the audience long. Tell us about you.
Well, I have been married for the last 36 years. I have three children. I'm a wife of a veteran. I have been writing since 2018. Right now, I have penned right at 13 books, 9 of them #1 bestsellers. I absolutely love helping people over the bridge of getting over their broken heart. My business name is Grief Care Consulting. LLC, and I know that I have a purpose and a passion to walk people over the bridge from that brokenness to some self-help, self-care, and some good coping skills for them to know that they are able to overcome, they are able to endure, and they're able to begin from anything that they have been knocked down from.
Awesome. Now, I heard you say you've been married for 36 years.
Yes.
Oh my God! Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I need you to tell the audience how did you all do it? How did you and Mr. Michael make it to 36 years?
Well,
give us some nuggets.
Well, I tell you, it's nobody but the hand of God that's on us because we only dated for 4 months before we got married. We met in December and we married the following April. So it was nobody but the hand of God. But we built our marriage on friendship first. We gave each other grace for our mistakes. We covered each other so that neither one of us are naked with shame or anything. And we just stayed together as a unit, even against our children. We stayed together as a unit, and we never let them separate us. And we have random date nights. We go on dates once, twice a week, and we're happy with one another, even when we're mad with one another. We like one another.
Awesome. Now, you know I'm pulling. You said that you all didn't even let the children get in between you.
Yeah.
And you know, so many times in relationships and in marriages, parents take sides.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it sometimes it's a rift
It's
that
hard.
goes on in regards. So
Yes.
how did you as Mama Bear, when you wanted to protect your child, say, you know what, Daddy and I said, even though you may not have been in agreement,
Right.
how did you make that work where you were still able to, you know, just love on your child,
Right.
and not have that not be upset with your husband because it felt like you had to
Yeah.
pick and choose? How
Well,
does a couple do that?
Where I didn't say I wasn't upset with him and he wasn't upset with me. There were many days when we were upset with one another, but we did not fuss in front of our children. We didn't do a whole lot of screaming and yelling and calling and name calling. And I think I didn't do that because I grew up in that kind of household. And then Michael was totally opposite. He grew up in a different kind of household where there wasn't any fighting or anything like that. So it was a mutual decision that we were not going to do certain things in front of our children. We weren't going to let them see them pit us against one another. Even when he might have been angry with me or I was angry with him, we didn't do that out in the open with our kids.
That is awesome. That's key. I think all all parents should take heed to what you said, regardless of what the situation going on.
Right.
There is a certain way that we should carry ourselves in front of our children. If we're going to disagree, we need to disagree behind closed doors where the kids
Right.
cannot see and the kids cannot hear what
Right.
we're saying. And we don't need to put that energy on our children because then they grow up mimicking what they saw.
Right.
Yes. So you said that you grew up in that atmosphere where, it may have been tension in the atmosphere with your family. So that takes us to our question. At what age or when in life did you discover I have something to say? I have a voice to say what I want to say, and nobody is going to stop me from sharing my voice. It's time for me to speak, and I want to say something.
I was still good and grown when I came from behind the shadows, I call it. I call it coming from behind the shadows and stand from behind the shadows. And that was at the end of 2017 when God pressed me to come from behind the shadows because He had given me such a gift of helping the brokenhearted. He had given me such a gift of honing in on the gift of helping families through grief. So it was the end of 2017 that I just could not hold it back any longer. And that's when I invested in a coach because me and procrastination, we fought every day of the week. So I knew I had to invest in myself to get a coach. I knew I had to invest in certifications. So it was then when I knew and I was determined that I was going to start writing and putting the pen to the paper and opening my mouth to although I did not want to do it, I had no intentions of doing this in life, coming on a screen in front of people to see me and to critique me and to listen to what I'm saying. And my coach and I fought for a long time about me coming on the screen. so, so here I am. So it was in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind sharing, now you did say procrastination, but what was one of the main things that kept you inside that glass ceiling that muted your voice? What was that one thing that you had to really work hard of breaking free from?
Myself. Thinking that I had nothing to share. Nobody would want to listen to what I had to say. But I had to realize that what I had to say, it is valuable. It was valuable. And it was helping people. So why not give it more often and more freely as I cultivate my skills in it? So it was me. It was me holding me back. I was in my way.
Wow.
Yeah. So many people told me, Deborah, I see a business in you. I see a book in you. I mean, people would cheer me on, and I would just shrink back into behind the shadows. Yeah, I would do what I needed to do, create the platform for people, and then I would go back behind the shadows and let them enjoy the platform.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
so many of us. Well,
sure.
I can say that for me, I was that one that I worked well, putting things together for everybody.
Hmm.
And I was okay being in the background.
Me too.
I was okay. Let me put everything together. Let me do this. Yeah, I'll write that. I'll do that. But you gonna take the front stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember my goddaughter, Pastor Phoenicia. She said, "Mom," I said, "Mm-hmm." She said, "It's time for you to come to the front." And I said, "Oh no, baby." She said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "It's time for you to. You need to take your place." She said, "You're doing everything for everybody, putting everything together, and everybody thinks it's somebody else putting it together, but they don't know it's you, and
Oh
you
my
don't let
goodness.
people know it's you." And
Mm-hmm.
so that was, I had to learn how to get out of my way too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's a lot of women. We have a tendency, we're creators and we're
Mm-hmm.
nurturers. So
Right.
we like to put things together and we like to
Mm-hmm.
baby it and fix it, but we
Mm-hmm.
want to give everybody else that opportunity. So
Oh
I
yeah.
am glad that you decided to go along with your coach
Yes.
and get out of your way.
Yes. I am clean out of my way now.
Awesome. So, what part of your personal story would you say would be that breaking point to help change the trajectory of someone else's life? So, if your life was a movie, what would be that part of that movie that you would definitely want played out because it would definitely help change someone else's life?
Being able to be bold enough to share your story, so that people can hear that, because if we share our story, there are things that people will see that we're more alike than we are disalike. So I think in life, my life has been full of grief. So I think people have watched the way I've dealt with grief, how I've overcome grief, um, and how I've coped through grief. In spite of what I've gone through, I still have kept a certain part of my personality that had joy within it. So I think the part of my life is loving others, sharing the platform for others, and just putting others first.
Awesome. Now, you are a certified grief consultant.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that people, when they hear the word grief, the first thing they think of is the death of a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that there are phases in everyone's life that we are going to go through seasons of grief.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a loss of a job, it may be loss of a marriage, it may be financial loss, it may be anything that causes grief. Can you explain um, some ways that people can understand when they are in that season of grieving?
Yeah. Grieving is something that we do on a daily basis, but we do it so well, we don't think about it. We know how to put on that Kool-Aid smile, that lipstick, and out the door we go, and we're just as tore up inside as we can be. So, grief is something that we do so well, we don't understand the trajectory of it, meaning we don't give ourselves a chance to process the grief. This pandemic has had us in a grief for over the last 2 years, but we've learned how to cope with it. We've learned how to do different things to make our way through this pandemic. So, to know that you're grieving is to know that you're living, right? Because you're going to go through grief. I mean, a wayward child can give you grief. Health issues can give you grief. Self shame can give you grief. When I wrote my first book, Grieving Under Grace, I can remember riding to church and I asked God when He gave me the title of the book, I don't want to just write about death. What else can I write about? So he said, write about what you lived. And he started giving me the titles: grieving over self shame, grieving over church hurt, grieving over the unexpected, grieving over the loss of a loved one, grieving over loss of friendship. So there he started giving me different titles of subjects that I have had to endure and overcome and process. So that is what my first book, Grieving Under Grace, is compiled of: different shades of grief.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
So, when someone finds themselves in the moments of grief or the period of grief, what are some methods that can be used that are healthy to overcome grief? Because a lot of us, as you say, we go through grief every day, but we've learned how to put that smile on our face and keep it going, but we still have not dealt with the grief itself. So
Right.
what are some healthy methods that one could use? Give us like three healthy methods that one may use if they are dealing with the loss of something or someone.
For me, prayer, calling on your higher power to give you strength, to give you comfort, to give you wisdom and knowledge how to go through. Journaling is a beautiful way to grieve. Um, and just giving yourself a safe place and permission to grieve. So there are so many things we can do to help ourselves grieve. We prepare for everything in life other than grief. So I tell people that Google is your best friend in 2022. Google how to get over a divorce. Google how to get over self-shame. Google how to get over stress. There are so many things that we can put our own hands to help ourselves. And in grieving, we have to realize that we are our initiator. We have to do something to make ourselves feel better, to make ourselves be on a better place, better place. You have to get up and do something because we are our initiators of getting better in grief. And do even if it's no more but calling out to somebody to help us, we have to do something.
Yes. So we're going to have to pull ourselves up and move and do something
Do
to help
something. Make a
ourselves
phone.
out.
You can't pull yourself up. Reach over, dial somebody's number, and call. Keep yourself in a close contact of your core friends, your family, and those that know you.
Awesome. Now, you said that you are an author of 13 books, 9 which are bestsellers. Now,
Unbelievable.
when you have penned these books, what was the purpose behind writing 13 books, and what were you attempting to accomplish when you began writing these books?
Leaving a legacy. Doing something that no one else in my family. I'm one of 10 children, right?
Yes.
And when I write to make my mom and dad proud, although they're no longer here. And it's to leave a legacy. It's so that when I'm done and God has come to get me 75 years from now, you'll know what Deborah Fry wrote about grieving under grace. You'll know what Fry wrote about I Am Woman.
Yes.
You'll be able to see videos of me, things that are tangible and they are forever as long as we're doing this thing as videos and however, whatever you want to call it. But it was for legacy and to leave my stories behind.
Yes. I have a motto: live a life that outlives you. And that's exactly what you're doing,
Yeah.
because one thing that will always last from generation to generation to generation is a book.
It's a book. And I remember when you had us to
Yes.
write about a topic, and the subject is writing about something to outlive you.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so that is one thing that no one can take away from us.
exactly.
And it is so fortunate now. There was a taboo that was being said that in regards of our culture. put it in a book and they'll never read it.
Mm.
Well, we're tearing that taboo up,
Oh,
and not
yes.
only are we reading books, we are writing
We
books
are
and
writing
we are
books.
publishing books.
Yes, ma'am.
So kudos to our culture for
Yes.
destroying that taboo.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you have a number one best-selling book that is not traditional.
Mm.
And when I say it's not traditional, it's because you're the visionary, but you have 15 co-authors that are men. Tell us about this number one best-selling book featuring not only 15 men, but these are 15 God-fearing men, and the mass majority of them are pastors. Tell us about that
Unbelievable.
project.
Well, it's 14 of them.
Okay.
And this grief through his eyes, seeing grief from his point of view. If
Yes.
you've worked with me on this book, Miss Relisa, you know it is a powerful book.
Yes.
So the Lord gave me this title well over 2 years ago. Didn't feel qualified to do something like that. So I told my coach about it. She was excited. Look, my coach is Latrice Williams McKnight. She was excited, and I tucked that bad baby away for over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord woke me up last October, about 4 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
with the layout of the book and everything. And that's when I knew it was the green light. It was go time.
Yes.
And I started recruiting the co-authors. And the men that I thought would have come alongside me in the book told me no.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get discouraged. I just said, next, let me just go to the next person.
Yes.
And as God gave me names, I would do cold calls.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell them, this is Deborah Fry. I have a book. God gave me this vision. It's for men to come to the table. It is for men to share their heart with the world.
Mm-hmm.
It is a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to write a chapter,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to gain a brotherhood that you may not have ever seen.
Yes.
And after talking to them in that way, before I knew it, I had 14 amazing co-authors.
Yes.
Amazing co-authors. And they have been running amok all over town. They have been selling. They have been talking. I can't keep them quiet. You know, they have been on podcasts. They have been in magazines. It is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So each author wrote their own authentic story.
Yes.
And it's their story, it's their true story to their heart.
Yes.
And they pinned it. And like I said, you worked with me, you know, we went around and around, but we finally got a excellent book that they just cannot keep in stock. You know, so it is truly a vision from the Lord that gave me this book.
Awesome. Again,
Thank
congratulations.
you.
Congratulations to all the co-authors. I
Thank
don't
you.
know why I keep wanting to say it's 15. I think your next volume is going to be 15 because I
Listen,
keep holding on to that number 15.
well, guess what? I already have 6 of them, and I have not even promoted it to the public yet. Okay,
Awesome.
so I
Awesome.
already have six authors that are already on the train.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Yes.
Now, so do you have a book? You've written 13. Do you have a book that you would like to share an excerpt from?
I absolutely love reading out of my Grieving Under Grace book.
Okay.
I guess because it was my first baby.
Yes, ma'am.
My
Well, go
first
ahead.
baby. So I love reading out of my Grieving Under Grace book. And maybe I read about my sister. My favorite chapter in the book is about my sister grieving over self-shame. Because I had a terrible relationship with one of my baby sisters, and I was not able to get back over the bridge of us to reconcile. So it was my self-shame that I had, and I wrote this in chapter 5. Um, my sister Beverly moved away from the entire family and cut herself off from everyone except my brother Skip. Over the years after her move, it seemed it started weighing heavy on my heart. So I started asking God, was her move due to all of the teasing and unlike and unkind words that I would say to her? I hadn't seen my sister in years, and my heart was broken and so sad because Beverly and I missed out of crossing the bridge to get back to one another. She refused most of my phone calls, cards of repentance, showers of love, and my holiday greeting cards were never acknowledged with a note of thanks, of thank you or anything. I would often say that I was going to seek Beverly's forgiveness and hash it out, but year after year passed, no resolved. When I received a call that my sister was found dead in her apartment due to an aneurysm, I spiraled into self shame. Shame on me for acting as if I had a lifetime to get things right. Shame on me for carrying on with everyone else and not my younger sister. Shame on me. This was a tough shame pill to swallow, but through all the pain and shock, God gave me forgiveness. He gave me peace and assurance that Beverly was okay. So, my number one chapter in my book, Grieving Under Grace, is chapter 5. And I talked about my self shame of not reconciling with my sister. And that had been 10 years. And the next time I saw my sister, she was dead in a casket. So, but the great thing about that story is when I shared and wrote this story, I can remember a sister in church walked up to me and she said, thank you for writing that story because I have not spoken to my sister in New York. After I read your story, I got in the car. I rode to New York. I knocked on my sister's door, and when she saw me, we hugged and cried for 15 minutes. So thank you for sharing that story. So that
Yes.
is why we write. That is why we tell authentic stories. And that was a hard story. I had to go deep when I wrote this story because I had to acknowledge that I wasn't a nice person. I didn't say kind words like most young kids do. I didn't, I didn't love right. And that probably was because I never grew up with "I love yous" or "good job" or what have you. Like I said, I was one of 10 children.
Mhm.
But when Beverly passed, I had vowed that I would never let time like that come between myself and another family member. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That is an amazing testament. And when you were sharing, I thought about the scripture, what the devil meant for bad, God
Mm-hmm.
will turn it around and use it for his good.
Sure.
Yes, unfortunately, you had to go through that, but
Mm-hmm.
because of your story and you sharing it,
Right.
now you're able to help other family members and friends
Sure.
bring reconciliation to their actual relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And that is God thrusting you into the
Yes.
ministry of reconciliation, because there are a lot of people that are living lives that are divided, and
Mm-hmm.
we are to be servants to bring reconciliation. So
Right.
God is using what the devil said, aha, I got you stuck in shame.
Mm-hmm.
God said, no, 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 no.
Yes.
My daughter is coming out of this shame, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use that experience
Yeah.
for her good, and she
Yeah.
is going to use it to bring other family members together.
Yeah. So,
That's
and that's what
awesome.
it did.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. Now, if you were a book and someone read it and you wanted to write encouraging statement in there for them to read, what would that statement of encouragement be?
That statement of encouragement would be that no matter what you're going through in life, you are able to endure, you are able to overcome, and you are able to begin again with new hope, new assurances, new coping skills, new memories. Whatever you want to start over again, you are able, and you're never alone.
Yes, yes. You know, the Bible tells us God will never leave us nor forsake us.
No forsake us.
And, you know, Bishop Paul S. Morton, he has a song that you can start over again. He said it doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter matter who you are. You can start all over
Over again.
again.
Yeah.
And that is so befitting that you said it,
Yes.
because a lot of people, some of us have gone into, it seems as though we're hitting a dead end because we don't think there's another way. But God says, hey, I give you brand new mercies every day.
Every
So
day.
it's time for you to start over. It's
Yes.
okay. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, wow. We're at the end
That is
of
awesome.
our segment on tonight. So please let everyone know how they can contact you if they need someone to talk to in regards of grieving, if they want to purchase a book. How can they contact you?
Well, they can contact me on my website, www.griefcareconsulting.com. That's griefcareconsulting.com. And you can contact me there, send me a note, look at my books, look at my services. Everything is there. You can also find me on Facebook and DM me if you like, under Deborah Fry. And I'm on IG and Grief Care Consulting.
Awesome. Well, Miss Deborah, we thank you for being our feature tonight on
Thank
Voices
you.
of an Author with V. Waring. It has indeed been our pleasure to have you on the show tonight. If you all would like to be a part of Voices of an Author with V. Waring, please contact me at verlisa.waring@therisehernetwork.com. Thank you all for joining us for this segment of Voices with an Author, featuring international bestseller and certified grief consultant, Miss Deborah Juniper-Frye. You all have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.
You